For more in-depth analysis, let's bring in Rina Shah, political analyst and current affairs commentator. Rina, thanks again for coming on the program. Now, Democrats have been trying to have these documents released for a long time, documents that are usually automatic with sitting presidents. What do you think the returns shed light on?
Well, the first thing to note is that this was a compulsion of Trump's tax returns being outed to the American public, actually. In the past, it's been a great American tradition for candidates as well as sitting elected officials to volunteer these returns and their tax records. And that's just something that Trump refused to do. So the fact that a committee within the U.S. House of Representatives took its time and essentially had no other choice but to subpoena these records and then make them public really is something that is unprecedented in American history.
Now, they reveal some pretty complicated tax setups and tax payments during the Trump years in the White House. They confirm that Trump paid no federal tax in 2020 and just $750 in federal income tax in 2017. Given he has so much property and so many assets, how has he managed to get away with this, do you think?
Well, he has taken advantage of our very complicated tax code. And it's actually kind of funny because in 2016, when he was running for president and still a candidate in the earlier part of 2016, he would make statements on the campaign trail talking about how complicated our tax code is and how he wanted to simplify it and make it so easy for Americans to file their taxes, easy enough so that they could fit on a postcard. That actually never happened while he was in office. The IRS never made those advances, and we still have a very complicated tax code to this day. It's one with many loopholes that many wealthy Americans regularly take advantage of in order to retain their wealth and grow it. Now, is it illegal to do so? People typically get caught if they do these illegalities. But there are many things, again, that allow wealthy Americans to save. What we know now of the president's time in the White House is that he paid something like $1.1 million only over the course of 3 years. Now, even our most modest wage earners here in the United States should be pretty offended because Trump has many times over the past 6-7 years said he's been a billionaire, somebody who's very wealthy. He should, for really conventional purposes, should have been paying more.
Republicans I speak to congratulate him in some ways that he is able to manipulate the tax system to suit his own benefits, that it shows his good business acumen. Now, obviously, some of these details are arguable depending on which side of the fence you sit on. Do you think it's going to have any political impact on him moving forward?
Well, I think the most notable thing here is that he is really trying to gain this to his advantage. He's saying, people like me who have businesses and create jobs for other people are people who are not going to be paying so much because we are doing something that's even a greater good for society, which is, again, creating jobs. So there will be his opponents, Democrats and other Republicans alike, who take great issue with the fact that, these records that have been released by the committee don't tell us more about who Trump is financially because they only tell us about who he is from 2015 onward. Anything prior to that, we just don't know because we don't have those records. And who knows if those records will ever see the light of day. The main takeaway here is how the Democrats want to play this to their advantage. And I just don't think that it's going to hit as hard as they think unless some officials are able to show financial impropriety that could lead to laws being broken. And I just don't think we're at that point right now.
I suppose then moving towards the elections when he could be up against candidates like Ron DeSantis, will some Republicans be questioning what kind of Trumpist president they want? One that may not be Trump himself, given the baggage that he's been collecting is getting heavier and heavier?
Well, in the past day, I've had a great many conversations with Republicans here in Washington, as well as some in the western states. It's no surprise that there are Republicans in today's party that do not want to see former President Trump have this 2024 bid that he's already announced. They think that the fact that he had bank accounts in places like China and in other countries while he was occupying the White House, that doesn't look good for him. So privately, some are actually kind of glad that there are revelations in these thousands of pages of documents that don't look good for Trump. But on the political side is what we have to be concerned about. Earlier, I alluded to the legal. We don't see anything there yet. But the political side, Democrats will say this is a person who just wasn't that successful. He lied to you about donating his presidential salary to charity, which, as you noted in your report, he did not do. So they'll really try to paint him a picture of a man that, again, has told more falsities to his supporters as well as to the broader American public.
All right, Rina, really appreciate your insight. Rina Shah there for us, political analyst and current affairs commentator.
Certainly, thank you.